Is there? Okay, all right, so we are recording and streaming, so we can go ahead and begin.
Welcome one and all to the September 22nd installment of the UIDRB. I would like to swear in city staff if I'm like, you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you so much. This is a public forum. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on matters that are not listed in the agenda? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Fleming will be late, but he should be here by 4:30. Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Reeds?
Here.
Mr. Szymanski?
Here.
Mr. Sublett?
Here.
Thank you.
Have the board members had an opportunity to review the minutes from the previous, any comments, revisions? No? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I make that motion.
I will
We
second.
approve the minutes.
So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Jones?
I approve.
Mr. Reeds?
Approved.
Mr. Szymanski?
Approve.
Mr. Sublett?
Approved.
Thank you, that passes.
We move swiftly to our first case, do we not?
Yes.
That would be UID 22-08-09.
So this is for 66 West 10th Avenue. So 66 West 10th Avenue is a contributing residential dwelling built in 1900 with a non-contributing addition on the rear of the structure. The applicant is seeking approval for the replacement of all 48 existing vinyl windows on all elevations using a tan vinyl window. The majority of the replacement windows are single hung with 6 fixture windows and 1 awning window. The applicant last came before the board in August, where the board requested that all downsized windows be returned to fit as close as possible to the original masonry opening. The board also requested a 1/1 window configuration for the lower bay windows on the front elevation. The board requested a historic photo of the home and architectural elevations. Planning staff notes that no historic photo of the structure is available in either the planning division files or via the image database on the Columbus Library website. Thus, no historic photo is required from the applicant. Furthermore, the planning division standard is not to require elevations for window replacement applications, but rather request a window quote listing the measurements of the original masonry openings and that of the new windows. In response to board comments, the applicant noted that the upper portion of the lower bay window had stained glass and that interior framing reflects the original window configuration. The applicant provided a window quote showing the original masonry opening dimensions and the replacement window dimensions that are scaled to fit the original masonry opening, provided new exterior photos showing all window openings, and provided an interior photo showing the existing interior framing of the lower bay window on the front elevation. And the submittal includes site photos, the window quote, and material cut sheet. And we'll hop over to the materials now. So here you have each elevation with the different windows labeled. The dimensions here are the existing openings, the framed openings, but the masonry openings are on the window quote, which you'll see. So here's the front elevation with those labeled windows. This is the sort of front side elevation. This is the other side elevation. This is the non-contributing addition. And then this is the rear. And then this is the other side, so a mix of the contributing side of the building and the addition. And then this is the interior bay windows. So these are windows from the front. These are windows 10, 11, 12, and 13, but on the inside. So you can see here, there's a sort of like what we're calling a framing member separating this 1/1 window from this fixed casement window. And then this is the window quote. So the way to read this is you'll see here, I'll scroll down a little bit. So the proposed window that they are ordering or that they can order is listed in red here. And then the masonry opening is listed above, which is MO. So as you scroll down, you'll see the masonry opening compared with what the updated dimensions of the windows are. And per our historic preservation staff, the most we can get away from the masonry opening is 1 inch, which every window does comply with after staff review. So that's how you go about reading that quote. You'll see some of these will say NA, but that's because the existing frame size is pretty much close to the original opening. So after staff review, the proposal is generally consistent with the recommendations of the University District Plan. The plan recommends that when the replacement of windows is necessary, the original design, type, and proportion be maintained, and that replacement windows fit the entire opening with no filler or additional framing. Staff encourages applicants to utilize a window from the UIDRB approved windows list for contributing buildings, but recognizes that for this case, the existing windows are vinyl and like-for-like replacement can be supported. Staff also recognizes that the interior photo of the front elevation lower bay window shows framing members separating the lower single-hung windows from the upper fixed windows. Given that the replacement windows will be sized to fit the masonry opening within a 1-inch max in size difference per HPO recommendations, and that the interior photo shows existing framing members separating the single hung from the upper casement windows, staff does recommend approval. Thank you.
The applicant is here, I see.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to the presentation from the city? No. Okay. Do any board members have any questions?
I think we got it.
Thank you for the interior shot.
yes,
That
thank you.
was very helpful.
Yes, it is.
And my mother knew about the stained glass.
Ah.
She watched this. She called.
Did you know what happened to it?
It got
I think
damaged.
if they're speaking, then they do need to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you raise your right hand, please? Just, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. Proceed.
It was damaged during the
Uh-huh.
yeah, and they weren't able to.
So do any board members have any comments do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Ms. Jones? Approve. Mr. Reed?
Approved.
Mr. Samansky?
Approved.
Mr. Sutcliffe?
Approved.
Okay, so that passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Done?
Yep.
You're done.
Thank you very much.
You'll receive an email from me with the next steps for approval.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the support. Thank you for your time on this.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You do. Which moves us swiftly to UID 2209-005.
Okay. All right, so this is for 1555 Neal Avenue, which is a 7-bedroom contributing residential dwelling built in 1900. The applicant is seeking approval to remove the original Spanish tile roof and install a new dimensional shingle roof to remedy existing water intrusion issues. In their application, the applicant states that the options to repair or replace the roof tile system were researched, but it was determined that the existing roof tile system is, quote, outdated and the tile cannot be repurposed or reused as they will inevitably break and cannot match up the existing attachment holes during reinstallation. Furthermore, the applicant noted that finding roofers to repair or replace the existing roof tiles was unsuccessful. Submitted materials include site photos, roof inspection report, and roof material cut sheet. And UIDRB staff, that's me, has provided examples of university district structures with tile roofs within the materials packet. And so if we pop over to that, this is a photo of the roof provided by the applicant. And then here we have sort of an aerial shot of the roof provided by the applicant. And then here are just some additional structures that I found within the university district that do have various roof tiles here and here. And then this is the inspection report that the applicant got, showing sort of the findings, related to the existing roof and their recommendations. And then here's the estimate, and then it goes on with the type of roofing system that the applicant is proposing there with the cut sheets. So after review, the proposal is generally inconsistent with the university district plan. The plan recommends that character defining features and original architectural features such as roofs be maintained. And as such, staff requests that the applicant repair, preserve, and maintain the existing tile roof. Staff recommends that the application be tabled to allow the applicant to continue to explore repair and preservation options. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, thank you.
Proceed, please.
Yes, members, thank you. The simple fact of it is that I've looked at and been involved in doing roofs for many years. My dad was a aficionado of properties with bad roofing systems. And so over the years, and I was even a little kid working on his properties in the campus area and in properties throughout Ohio, got to be involved in the different types of roofing systems that are there. And I have had my own personal experience in that, in those endeavors of Spanish tile roofs such as this, and that they are not optimum for a climate such as this where there is snow and ice because of this expansion and contraction, and it shifts and moves them. You know, Spanish tiles are only designed to take 90% of the water off. And what is needed then is the underlayment and the board underneath is a crucial component of what people don't realize. That component of this roof system is gone.
Rotted,
Uh,
rotted?
in areas, yes, I mean, we haven't taken off the whole system. I had 3 different companies, Durable Slate, Precision Tile and Slate, one Red Roof Slate a couple, 2 years ago, look at it. And they looked at different areas and it was all rotted there. The current company that's proposed to put the asphalt shingle on, went up and looked in another area too, and those areas are rotting. And certainly there's evidence of the upper units where it has been causing damage. It took a while to recognize it because of the bones of this property, you can imagine, built in 1900 are solid. And we were getting some water intrusions all the way down into the basement that we couldn't identify. And it come to find out was coming through the side area walls all the way down into the basement.
Are those solid masonry walls? I assume they are.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun to have to deal with. A lot of interior things we like to do to upgrade it, but we just don't because of how solid all those walls are. So when we look at those different systems, even the people I talked to said, you know, would never recommend putting this style of a roof on. Looks pretty, you know, but we wouldn't put it on in this particular climate. There's a reason. I mean, you know, when staff put in the report of structures in this district, and I don't know the exact boundaries, you know, 4 examples of them. You know, one was an OSU college building, one was a commercial building, and 2 were other residential properties. One was 1.6 some miles from this property, one was like 0.7. You stand on this property like I did again, coming in here today, and you look around, there ain't no Spanish tile roofs. They're rarely present in this district. So, you know, I disagree with things such as a roof system such as this is a contributing aspect of this property. Because it's not conducive to the area as a whole. So you've got, you know, 4 other properties, 2 residential, 1 OSU building, and 1 commercial building up on High Street far away. In the districts, just giving you an example.
Which was the OSU building?
What's that?
You referred to an OSU building. Which one was that?
I'm not sure what it was. No.
I think you might be talking about the historic Indianola Elementary School,
I
formerly.
thought it was,
It's now the GEM school. No, this building was a public school as part of the Columbus public system up until the GEM school moved in.
I took
It's
that.
2 blocks from my house, so I know it well.
Okay, I thought, I just looked at, I thought it was part of the OSU.
It's not.
It looked, you know, it looked really impressive, but I thought it was part of the OSU. So that was just my assumption, but, you know, everything that's around that's been built by OSU, none of them they're not putting anything on in Spanish tile. There's one that's just being finished right across the street from me, from this property. It's just been finished built. You know, no one's putting these roofs on for a good reason. You know, in a particular area. When you talk about something supposed to be a contributing structure, I've not been given any information that this home in itself or any other aspect of it has been designated historical that would make it contributing. Okay, so I'm going from that assumption.
A little bit to the differences. So a historic structure is if it's on the historic register, which this definitely is not. You're right about that. A contributing structure is different from a historic structure in that generally in the field of, you know, city planning or architecture, if a building is 40 years or more older, then it's defined as contributing. So since this structure is more than 40 years old, it does fall into the contributing category, although it's not historic.
Yeah.
So with those contributing structures, we really want to make sure that we're preserving as many elements of the original structure as possible, because they do give, that original charm and distinctiveness of the neighborhood.
Well, I know a bit about the historical stuff. I was on the board that created the UA Historical District, okay? And so I know a little bit about it, and I've argued over what is historical or not in federal court in Washington DC. So I know the issue. So if you're just going and contributing as far as age,
Yeah.
okay, fine. What we're trying to look at is this board's trying to regulate something that, to the aesthetics look of it within the district itself to make sure that it remains cohesive. Well, there aren't Spanish tile structures other than the other ones that you've got in front of you. Go around and look around, there isn't any. So there's not a prevalence of Spanish tile. This isn't German village. This isn't those other historic areas where these type of features make it synonymous with the area that we're in. So I don't believe that, the Spanish tile again in and of itself is something that is synonymous with this particular district that should make it unique or to stand out. In all the years that I've had this property, and I've been involved with it for 15 plus some years, and all the people that we marketed it to and listed it for, I haven't had one person say, I like your property, I want to rent here because of your Spanish tile roof. This never comes up. Okay? So, from, an impact perspective of it as, as the manager and as the owner of the property, it puts us at a distinct economic disadvantage if we have to succumb to replacing something as this, which is going to cost, as of course you get in these issues, exponentially more than what the Spanish with the three-dimensional shingle roof. And it's going to put us at an economic disadvantage with everybody else around. That's just, that is a fact. 9 out of 10 homes, again, look either way, look 360 from this home down the district. And everybody, 9 out of 10 have some form of a shingle roof on in this district. And I think that's one of the most important points about when you're trying to apply aesthetic standards to be uniform in a district, it doesn't apply here in this particular circumstance. When I look at the different guidelines that the staff had in their report, it says to preserve, and the first one under guidelines, that it's not consistent because it's supposed to preserve and enhance the unique design characteristics of the district. I don't believe that it does. I don't think there's anything that indicates and would establish that this type of roof is in this particular instance in this district. A character defining feature of historic building should be maintained. This isn't historic, okay? And the original architect features under the building design in general says the original architect features, including but limited as listed, should be maintained. It has chimneys, cornices, eaves, dormers, porches, stoops, and railings, windows, and doors. It doesn't say roofs. So if what I think, again, the point is, this is not within the guidelines of what the legislation, what the board is supposed to be doing because of the fact this isn't contributing, it isn't something that contributes to an overall cohesive design within the district itself.
Thank you. Board?
I believe that we're playing with words here. And thank you for defining contributing. When you say the roof isn't historic, it is part of a significant contributing structure. I don't think that, or quoting the staff report again, mentioned the unique design element. And you're trying to apply the definition of how many other tile roofs there are in the area, whereas in fact, it is a unique design element. There are some other examples, but I don't think we can base a definition of significance on how many roofs like this that are in the area. It is a very distinctive part of this house. I'd also say that this house has strength as a contributing structure beyond its age. It is a house that, over time, I've been in several conversations about speculation that it may be designed by Frank Packard. And while I have never seen proof of that, it's quite similar to a documented Packard house owned by the Historical Society in Chillicothe. I'm actually, if I'm stumbling, it's because I'm so sort of surprised at the notion that the fact that there are not many roofs like this somehow diminishes its significance, which I think is simply logically not true. And I'll admit my prejudice. This is close to my home, 4 minutes away. I know this strip of houses very well, and I think that losing this distinctive element will have a detrimental effect on the entire stretch of Neal Avenue. All right, but a question rather than a speech. Sorry. Have you checked with any contractors who are involved in restoration as opposed to simply replacement, or who have work in, in this material at all, any experience?
I don't know who you would consider in that pocket.
Well, for example, you mentioned durable slate, and I know that I see durable slate in my neighborhood, which has a number of slate roofs, but there's still kind of an anomaly. And thankfully, a lot of people respect the fact that if you have a broken tile, you address it, because if you let it go, then you end up with a rotted roof. So as I look at this, and I'm not saying you've done anything wrong, I just question, I see near the front dormer, it looks like there's a broken tile. So I'm not accusing you. I'm wondering, over the last 50 years, how many broken tiles were not addressed? So I can't speak to the tile roofs that are supposed to let 10%, I don't know about that. But I think when you have a roof as distinct, and I agree coincidentally with everything as it relates to the distinctness of this roof as it relates to the house and being a contributing part of the appeal of the house, I question whether the roof has been properly maintained for many, many decades. And that's part of what's leading to excessive infiltration of water. So I appreciate the fact that it may have gotten to the point where your only option to keep it is you got to take all the tiles off, you got to put a whole new deck system down, some sort of rubberized system. And again, I can't speak to the actual detailing how you put and then put and that's going to be expensive. And I think part of that's due to the fact that I think the roof's quite frankly been neglected for a long time. So.
Well, that's not the case. So
I can understand.
Speculating on something like that is not proper, because it has been maintained.
Yeah, and I can also understand how you don't see it from the point of view of people who do the work all the time to try to maintain contributing structure. So you're looking at one artifact, and we look at the whole neighborhood. And I also hear you describing context. This should be like the other things. And one of the things that we see as valuable as a contributing artifact in this historic neighborhood is that it's different from other things. It's unique, therefore identifiable as something that has a quality to it. Do you know the work of Frank Packard, the architect that Tim
Yes,
mentioned?
and I've heard of Frank Packard, and again, what you're basing it on is what the other board member meant was speculation. You don't know that.
No, we don't know.
Okay,
But
you don't know that.
But the reason I brought that up is there's a well-known Frank Packard building in Franklinton, the Toledo and Ohio rail station, that also has a Spanish tile roof. And along with the GEM school, formerly Indianola Middle School, those would be two sources of places where you could find contractors that specialize in this kind of roof restoration, because both of those buildings have been attended to for their historic character. So those would be resources you could check with. Completely sympathetic about the challenge around the cost. And as you said, it makes you the more expensive site in the neighborhood. Have you checked with the Ohio History Connection, Bard Powers about tax credits?
No.
So I would recommend you do that. You're eligible given the date of this building and given its contributing role as part of an important neighborhood and a significant artifact by virtue of that particular thing. And because you make money as a property manager, you would be eligible for those tax credits. And that might make the difference for you, that you could repair the roof, maintain it. And as you know, with this kind of roof, once it's well maintained, it lasts a lot longer than an asphalt shingled roof. The materials themselves last longer. So that would be my recommendation to you.
I'd just be reiterating what everyone else said, other than, you know,
Can I make a couple suggestions about possible sources in addition to history connection?
Why don't you let Brian finish his?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you
And then
finished.
we'll circle
I-
back.
I was just, you know, the only thing that stuck out in my mind was the question of whether this is a good roof for a northern climate. And I don't know the answer to that question, and how, I mean, it is here. But I think, KB, you touched on it, I mean, this has been there for a long time. So, I mean, it would seem to me that properly maintained, a new roof, it's not, you would be replacing an asphalt shingle roof after 30 years. Whether this is the original or the second roof, it has a much longer lifetime. And so, yes, there is a cost with putting that on there. But I'm not sure that I understand that it doesn't do well in a northern climate if it's been there for this long.
It's a well-known fact, and you can research it like I have been doing for the last 3 years. That's why it's not recommended. That's why you don't see many structures using it. You know, a handful of people's opinion that it's unique and distinctive, you know, isn't representative of the general census of whether that is true or not. You know, it puts an owner like me, okay, in an unfair, disadvantaged position, not just economic and everything else, okay? You know, we are being treated different. It's not, it violates equal protection.
You're not being treated differently. You're being treated exactly equitably.
No,
And you,
I didn't interrupt you, okay? I think I am being treated differently, okay? We've got people admitting that they're prejudiced on this board who are making their decisions, okay? That's concerning to me, and it should be concerning to you, okay? I don't take that lightly. I appreciate your recommendations. The tax credits is a good thing to look into. We'll check into that and see what that is. But it's not a cost difference. It's a significant cost difference for the people who do these, and people aren't doing them prevalently this area because of the fact that it's not suitable material for this particular climate. You know, it's significantly more. I don't even want to give you a number.
This is staff, so, staff would definitely be willing to take another look at this and maybe change our recommendation. If maybe you could provide photos of the rot that's happening, the water intrusion, if you could provide photos of that. We would definitely recommend if you could find a contractor that's special, that maybe one that has worked on tile roofs specifically before and that has experience fixing the tiles or putting on new tile roofs, if they could take a look at it and provide, their recommendation of whether the roof is beyond repair or not. That's what I guess we're questioning is this roof beyond repair? So if you could provide those additional materials, that would help staff to review it further. That way we're not,
No,
jumping quite maybe next to the next step, but maybe there's a little bit more research that could
Yeah.
be done and some more information that could be provided to me.
I'll tell you that the company that you provided the link to,
Yeah,
the distributor of the tiles,
okay,
and they come in more than just clay now. I learned that through that company. But that's the one we approached
okay,
about what can we do? Can these be reused? They said, no, once you take those off, most of them are gonna break and the rest of them ain't gonna line up, so they'll be useless.
well, maybe there's another contract, you could get like a second, I know you provided that one, assessment. Maybe there's a second assessment that could be done with a company that does specialize, or not even specialize, but they just have the portfolio of working on tile roofs. And maybe that's a second assessment that could be done and provided to staff.
Are you comfortable with this being tabled and then given the chance to look more into it?
Yes.
So you get another chance?
Yes, I will do that. And I'll get
Should I make?
those tax credits, see if I can get that from you too.
Yeah, I can send that information.
Great.
So I make one other suggestion?
Sure.
I've had a couple conversations, and I think that Columbus Landmarks may be able to guide you to some contractors. I'm also told that the Historic Resources staff of the city maintains a list of contractors to recommend. Is that not true?
We can't provide
No, they can't
specific.
make-
Okay, so that was the
like that.
background.
That was decades.
Columbus Landmarks.
But
Yes.
Columbus Landmarks, particularly Susan Keeney, staff member there, I think can be helpful to you. And let me just say, since you brought up, my bias was simply that I like this house. I don't think that's a,
Well, I do too. That's why we own. We've had ownership
So we have that.
15 plus years and, you know, like I said, I live in a historic company that is designated historic in South UA. When we redid it, we did it to the T to continue into the historic aspects of everything. You know, I got to be best friends with the architectural salvage guy over there by the fairgrounds. Because we bought stuff from him just to fit the house that costs a lot more. Okay? But to me, I don't want to put a system on that isn't effective.
Well, I would like to ask, because Wiley's got a lot of experience as it relates to just general construction. Are you aware of any attributes for barrel clay tile roofs that are unsuited to climates such as ours?
I mean, it's unusual for a climate as ours, but it's not. I read the background information in the letter from the contractor saying you can't get Spanish tile here. First of all, that's not true. Ludovici, Ludovici, is produced in New Lexington, Kentucky, and they make not Kentucky, New Lexington, Ohio, hour from here, and they make a Spanish tile like this. So I guess, I don't know, I mean, what was the staff report? What's staff's recommendation?
Yeah, staff recommends that.
I assume it's another board member. I don't know what person this is.
Yeah,
He's a board member,
board member.
architect.
Okay, my eyes are bad, so I'm not
Yeah,
trying to catch the
no,
name.
worries. I'm late, I was teaching construction.
Staff's recommendation consistent with the guidelines is for this application to be tabled and for the roof to be repaired and maintained and preserved, given that it's a contributing feature of
It's,
this home.
it's a contributing house, it's a nice house, it's a unique house, and I've always seen it, you know, it's certainly not going to be the same when an asphalt shingle roof. I recognize that there is probably a rather significant cost differential between a clay tile roof and an asphalt shingle roof. Having said that, and I am happy to do a little research and pass it to staff, Ludovici does make Spanish tile. You know, they make-
Staff did send that link to the applicant.
Okay,
We've discussed that company.
okay,
So at this point, we've tabled so that we can,
yeah,
or we've made a motion to table.
yeah, that's,
Need a motion?
I made the motion to table.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. Mr. Fleming,
yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
So, to table, right?
To table.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Samansky?
Yes.
Mr. Suplet?
yes.
Okay, been tabled. All right, and that carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll follow up with you with next steps and the links for the Columbus Foundation and Ohio History Connection.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Moving on to staff approved
Yes.
submissions.
Yes.
Any comments? Questions?
So information for that?
Make a motion to approve staff approved applications?
Second,
Okay, Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Samansky?
yes.
Mr. Suplet?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That looks like the
Wow.
last item.
Wow.
Yeah, you got it.
That's a record.
That is a
So
real
it's
record.
4:32 and we are adjourned.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now that we're adjourned, can we talk about?
We're not recording?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay, so we are.
How do
stop
you feel
sharing,
about
we
using
stop
it for-
recording.
Thank you.
Okay.
you
Discuss.
So, yes,
allowing it for
application
basic
variance for Lane and High.
your project
A
on.
month ago.